Hey, it's your girl Lotus Evolution 369 back at you again. I was watching a video and it triggered something in me. Labels. Labels. How are you labeling yourself? Because what I'm learning about labeling yourself is that what you call yourself is what you become. What you speak over yourself is how you move and how you show up. So what are you labeling yourself as? Um, I don't own the rights to this music, so if I get flagged for copyrights, I'm sorry. But I'm not, now. Labels. What is a label? A label is an identification in which you flag, tag, or um, recognize yourself. Let me move this because I'm shaking it. I'm sorry. And so I was sitting here and I was watching a video that I had recorded. Or rather, I was listening to it because I didn't actually like whatever. Anyway, I digress. I was listening to it. And in the process of me listening to this video, I heard myself say something about labels. And I was like, oh, wait, that is so true. And mind you, it wasn't like I went in depth with it or whatever, but I'm going to go in depth with it in this video because it's important to understand what you say about yourself, how you label yourself. And that is important because when you label yourself, you attach or open a door to that particular type of characteristical trait or energy within yourself, be it true or not true. So when you are labeling yourself, you are in essence saying, I am that thing, or whatever it is that you have labeled yourself as. So, for example, I am a mother. I am labeling myself as a mom because it is factually true that I am a parent, I am a mother. I am an educator. I am a truth seeker. I am, I don't know, a millionaire. Speaking of yourself, shoot, claim it. But I say this because it is imperative for you to understand what you label yourself as. How you label yourself is how you show up. And it affects how you think about yourself and how you actually see yourself. So, are you labeling yourself correctly? I don't know how many people actually take the time to sit down and actually look at themselves in the mirror and just have a conversation with themselves. Like, I know for a fact that I wear many hats. Therefore, I have labeled myself as these numerous things, right? Multiple numerous things. And so I was like, hold on, I don't label myself as this, and that. And then I started realizing I had to play my tape back and realize every time I called myself something, I showed up as that thing that I called myself. And there were moments where I called myself something that I know for a fact that I'm not, that's not who I actually am. Yet I still showed up in that manner, in that way. And then I was like, wait, I'm I'm operating outside of me. That's not who I am and who I say I should be or who I call myself to be. So what is this? What is that? I mean, how do I fix that? What's going on? And so I was like, wait, oh, when you label something, you identify what it is. So think about it like this. In your kitchen, in your cabinet, you have tons of herbs and spices or food or canned goods, whatever. On those objects, it is a label, a title of what it is. And on the back, it has and you know the nutritional facts. So it's telling you that on the front, this is what this item is, and then this is what this item contains. So when you label yourself, you are giving yourself this title, and now you are opening a door to your behavior, your thought process, your actions, your words, your approach, your perspective. You're opening the door to all the things or the ingredients that are attached to that label. And there are some instances where we have labeled ourselves as things and opened ourselves to characteristics and traits and behaviors and mannerisms and actions and behaviors and things of that nature. We've opened ourselves to the ingredients that came with that label without even knowing it or without being conscious, alert, or aware as to the severity or the deepness of it. And I think this is important because you need to know what you're labeling yourself as. Start checking those that check, like Santa Claus said, check the list and make it twice. Checking the list, whatever it is. Making a list and checking it twice. That's what it is. Making a list and checking it twice. Make a list of how you label yourself. And that's also what you call yourself. So you know how you might be having a little conversation, like dad and sis and girl. You're labeling yourself as all those things. You're attaching yourself to the energy, the vibrational frequency, the characteristical traits, the behaviors, the mannerisms, the language, the perspective, the mindset. You are attaching yourself to that thing that you have labeled yourself as. And if it's not true about you, take the label off, remove it. Like, hold on, friend, I don't want that in my cabinet no more. Let me take that out of there and out of that. Yeah, it's time to recognize what you call yourself or who you say you are to be. Like, take the labels off. And then another thing is, don't let somebody else label you as something that you know you're not. Like, hold up, sis, you're not gonna speak that over me. Like, and I'm gonna go a little bit personal with this because my mom, when I was growing up, I would take forever to do stuff. And it wasn't that I didn't want to do it. I had to process how I wanted it to be done. It took me longer to process how I wanted things to be done so that it could be done efficiently and effectively so I gotta go back and do it again. And so sometimes I didn't process, I couldn't understand, like, wait, I know you want me to do this, but is it a certain way you want it done? Is it a certain way that I want to do it? What's the best possible way for it to be done so it's beneficial to both you and me? And so it would take me time to complete my task. And my mom would get frustrated. I mean, you procrastinate, you wait till last minute. And I noticed that I was a procrastinator. I'll admit to that. I was definitely a procrastinator. I still have moments where I go into that procrastination energy. However, I am learning to remove that label from off of my life. And I used to say that to my mom. Mom, stop saying that. You speaking it over my life. You speaking it over my life. I'm not a procrastinator. Stop speaking it over my life. I would go back and forth with her and say this. And the thing is, even though I would combat her or I would go back and forth with her, eventually it did stick. I started believing, you know what, I am a procrastinator. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm always procrastinating. Oh wow. I'm a procrastinator. Okay. I started accepting that narrative. And accepting that narrative means I accepted that label. And along with that narrative and label came the energy, the mindset, the action, the behavior, the thought process of it. Yeah, and then it got to the point where I was like, I don't feel like doing it. And then I started being lazy. And it's like, well, I got to do all this work. I got all this stuff to do because I started to procrastinate. I started to believe the label that was placed on me. I started to accept the garbage or the genre or the characteristical traits, the ingredients and what it does. I started accepting it as my own. And I had to take a moment and sit down and say, hold up, this is not me. If this is not who you want to be, take off the label. Do not label yourself as such. Then you won't have to hold yourself accountable to that energy, that frequency. And others won't do the same. Because when you start taking off the things that was put on you by other people and then the things that you put on yourself and then the when you start removing it, you start seeing yourself differently. And people start seeing you differently. And people start showing up differently because you are showing up differently. And it's important to understand that What are you labeling yourself as? How are you labeling you? How are you identifying you? How are you classifying you? How are you recognizing you? What are you saying to yourself or about yourself? What are you calling to yourself? What are you're, because every time you say, I am, you are declaring that you are whatever it is that follows behind the I am. And if it is something that is not true to the true essence and nature of who you are and who you are seeking to be and who you were designed or destined to be, then it's time for you to remove that. Take that label off. Take that energy off. Take that cloak, that shield, that mask, whatever it is. Take it off. Remove it. It's not easy. It's a process. You remove it by recognizing that you were once that thing. And then you move forward and you because you there's power in the word. You speak it over yourself. For nothing comes into this realm without speech. You have to talk it. You have to put it out there. Right? Your words have power. That your power lies in your tongue. The power of life and death is in the tongue. Okay. So if you understand that the power of life and death is in the tongue, then you also understand that what you say about yourself, you have called to yourself. You have labeled yourself as such. You have opened that door to that avenue or that journey or that venue. You opened your eyes to that sight. You open your ears to that message. You opened your heart to that energy, that frequency. You opened your body to whatever, because you can eat it. You know what I'm saying? You can ingest it too. So it's levels to it. So be mindful of what you label yourself as and how you label yourself and how you show up for yourself, because I don't want to be something that I'm not, and I don't think that you should be something that you're not. Don't label yourself with something that you also don't live up to. Now let's be real about that, because some of us also label ourselves. Let's keep it a bean. Some of us actually label ourselves to be something that we also are not, that we're not living to. Because I can say, oh, I'm holier than thou, girl, and I'll be outside cussing the carrying on at the club, drinking and all that. Friend, you're not holier than thou. You're not righteous. You're not saved. I'm just being real, because some people be like, I'm saved, I'm sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost. Oh, you are? But you was just at Melvin's 2 weeks ago. And it's not saying that you don't deserve to have a good time, because you deserve to have a good time. However, like, let your actions match your words. And if that's the case, if you say I'm saved, I'm sanctified, and filled with the Holy Ghost, then you need to actually walk in being saved, sanctified, and filled with the Holy Ghost. That means you have to recognize the ingredients that come with that label and move according to it. Because you can label yourself and pick up something that ain't you. You can also label yourself and pick up something that you are seeking to become. So be mindful of that. What are you labeling yourself as? Or how are you labeling yourself? And recognize that when you label yourself that way, you are putting on that hat, you're putting on that mask, you're putting on that energy, you're putting on that persona, that mindset, that perspective. You're opening yourself to that. So what are you opening yourself to? What door are you opening yourself to? And what doors are you closing yourself off from? Because some open doors are blessings and some are not. So just recognize the importance of it. And I leave you with that, and I pray that this message reaches whoever it needs to reach. Peace, love, and light. Ashe.